All right, we improved to 7-1 with a push in our last $9.99 daily best plays on brockpage.com. And the link for today's $1.99 daily best play is in the description section below. $1,000 bettors are now up over 5,300 fazuls during that span. We also have over 730 members who are signed up and active on that website right now. Now, if you sign up today for my $1.99 daily best play, you're actually going to get access to that package every single day all the way through the end of March for the original fee of just $1.99. I think that works out to be like 2 cents a day or something, 3 cents a day. But anyway, if you're not signed up for that package, or if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll explain a little bit more about it in just a moment. But before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the video. My name is Brock Page and I do sports picks for free right here on YouTube. I also sell my personal bets on brockpage.com. And I have packages on that website starting at just $1.99. Now, the purpose of these YouTube videos is to provide you with free informational sports betting content. And it's also designed to generate interest in signing up for a membership on my website. Now, you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my webpage. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side, and total. And what I do on my website is, well, I actually share with you which one of these free YouTube picks that I'm actually betting on personally. And with that, guys, got ourselves a pretty good slate of NBA action here today. So let's go ahead and dive into it. We're going to go ahead and start with the Hornets taking on the Cavaliers. And that's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off on Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. Cleveland's -3, totals 217. But despite being favored by a bucket at home in this one, the Cavaliers really haven't played all that great here recently. As a matter of fact, these guys failed to cover the point spread in their last 5 straight. And in addition to that, they got the outright W just once during that span. So, failed to cover in their last 5 straight, got the outright W just once during that span. Now, the Cavaliers are also, well, they really haven't played all too well with the ball in their hands. They're currently in the bottom 5 in the league in scoring on average per contest. And even, worse news for these guys, they also might have to go to work here tonight without their leading scorer, Darius Garland. The D-man's currently battling some back issues, and he's officially listed as questionable to play here tonight. So not only does Cleveland have offensive woes, their leading scorer, he might not be in the lineup here tonight. Now, Cleveland's taking on a Charlotte team who covered the point spread recently against the likes of Toronto, Miami, and Minnesota. And when it comes to the scoring in this one, well, there's really no one currently in the NBA who does it better than Charlotte. These guys are currently leading the entire NBA in offensive points per contest with over 114 points a game. LaMelo Ball, he's dropping just about 20 points a game along with 7 rebounds and 7 assists. Meanwhile, Miles Bridges, he's scoring over 19.5 points a night himself, along with 7 boards and 3 assists. Now, when it comes to shooting the 3 ball, the Hornets are actually in the top 10 in the league in offensive 3-point percentage. And when it comes to the injury report, Hayward and Bouknight are out. Richards and McDaniels are questionable. Meanwhile, for Cleveland, on the other side of things, Rondo and LeVert are still out for them. Garland, once again, is questionable. When it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of Cleveland's last 4 got over the posted number. The Cavs actually saw overs recently with the likes of Minnesota, Detroit, and Atlanta. Meanwhile, Charlotte, on the other side of things, they saw 4 out of their last 7 get over the line themselves. I'm going to lean towards Charlotte +3 and the over 217. Next ball game, it is going to be Pacers versus the Magic, 7 p.m. Eastern start time. Orlando's -1 with a total at 232. But despite their recent win against Indiana just a few nights ago, we're still looking at a Magic team who wins only 25% of their home games. And in addition to that, they score only 103 points a game in their own building. Matter of fact, the Magic's dead last in offensive three-point percentage at home. No real surprise there. They're also in the bottom 3 in home offensive rebounding, so really just an absolute quagmire for the Magic on the offensive end of the court. They're taking on an Indiana team who does a real nice job grabbing rebounds themselves. As a matter of fact, the Pacers are in the top 10 in the NBA in defensive boards per contest. Meanwhile, offensively on the other end of the court, they also find themselves in the top 10 in offensive rebounds per game on the road. Buddy Hield's grabbing over 5 rebounds per contest with his new team. Now, Hield's also scoring over 21 points a game with Indiana, along with 5 assists. And the Brogman, Malcolm Brogdon, looks like he's going to be making his return here tonight. He was battling injury for quite some time, but it does look like Malcolm Brogdon should be making his return here this evening. He's scoring 18.5 points a game, along with 5 rebounds and 5 assists as well. Certainly be nice to see Broggy back in the lineup. Now, when it comes to defensive play in this one, believe it or not, the Pacers are in the top 10 in the NBA in fourth quarter points allowed on the road. Not a lot of analysts are going to be talking about the defensive play of Indiana, but you definitely want to keep that in mind. These guys, they tighten up late in games when they travel. Now, injury-wise, Stevenson and Duarte are questionable for the Pacers. Meanwhile, for the Magic, Wagner and Bol are out. Anthony is questionable. When it comes to the total in this one, Orlando saw their last 2 straight fall under the line. 5-3 to the under in their last 8. Meanwhile, the Pacers saw unders recently with Washington and this very Orlando team. I'm going to lean toward Indiana +1 in the under 232. Next matchup, it is going to be Knicks versus the Sixers, 7:30 p.m. East. Philadelphia is -10.5, totals 224. Now, Philadelphia is on a 3-game winning streak, and they've beaten up on the Knicks in recent meetings. The Sixers are 8-2 straight up in their last 10 contests against New York. They also limited the Knicks to just 100 points a game during that span. Knicks having a tough time scoring against the Sixers. And speaking of defensive play for Philadelphia, well, the Sixers are currently in the top 10 in guarding the 3-ball at home. They're actually limiting their competition to just 105 points a game at the Wells Fargo Center. Now, offensively, Joel Embiid's averaging over 29.5 points per contest, along with 11 boards. Meanwhile, James Harden, he's scoring 28 points a night with his new team, along with 14 assists. Now, Harden's also drilling over 57% of his three-pointers in his short stint with Philly already. Now, the Sixers, they're taking on a struggling Knicks team who lost their last 5 straight themselves. And they actually got the W in only 3 games since January 15th. Now, the Knicks' biggest problem is their offensive performance. I mean, it's kind of been that way over the past handful of seasons. Actually, it's been that way for a really long time. Not a lot of prolific scoring for this Knicks organization in recent years. These guys are scoring only 104 points a game this year when traveling. And they're actually in the bottom 3 in offensive field goal percentage on the road. Now, injury-wise, Rose and Grimes are out for the Knicks. When it comes to the total in this one, 7 out of New York's last 10 meetings with Philly did fall under the posted number. The Knicks also saw unders more recently against the likes of Portland and Utah. Meanwhile, Philly on the other side, they are 18-11 to the under in front of their home fans. I'm going to lean toward Philadelphia -10.5 and the under 224. Next matchup, it is going to be Kings versus the Pelicans, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. New Orleans is -6, totals 235.5. Now, the Pels won their last 2 straight, and they also averaged 120 points a game in those 2 victories. The Pelicans also have a winning record against the point spread at home this year, and they're doing a heck of a job rebounding the basketball defensively. Matter of fact, the Pels find themselves in the top 3 in the league in home defensive boards. Now, Jonas Valanciunas, he's averaging nearly a dozen rebounds a game. He's also getting 18 points a night as well for the big man. Meanwhile, CJ McCollum, he's averaging 28 points a night with his new team. 5 rebounds, 5 assists for CJ. And speaking of offensive production, the Pels actually do most of their damage offensively late in games. New Orleans is currently in the top 3 in the association in fourth quarter scoring at home. Now they're taking on a Sacramento team who lost 4 out of their last 5. And they're winning only 26% of their road games. Now, I do really think that the Kings could run into some problems defensively here tonight. They're already in the bottom 3 in defensive field goal percentage. And they're also giving up 117 points a game when they travel. Now, injury-wise, Holmes is questionable. Davis is still out. Meanwhile, for the Pels on the other side of things, Larry Nance is still out indefinitely for them. When it comes to the total in this one, New Orleans saw overs recently with Dallas, Memphis, and San Antonio. They're also 60% to the over in their last 10 meetings with Sacramento. So if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. Meanwhile, the Kings on the other side, they are 8-2 to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward New Orleans -6 and the over 235.5. Next matchup should be a good one. I'm talking about the Heat versus the Bucks, 8 p.m. Eastern start time. Milwaukee's -4 with the total at 226.5. Now, the Bucks are coming fresh off a 130-point effort against Charlotte the other evening. Milwaukee's also 21-12 at the Fiserv Forum this year, playing some pretty good basketball at home, and they're actually averaging 114 points a game on their home court. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's averaging over 29 points a game, along with 11 rebounds and 6 assists. Meanwhile, Chris Middleton scoring 19.5 points a night himself, along with 5 rebounds and 5 assists as well. And speaking of rebounds, the Bucks are in the top 3 in offensive boards per game. Meanwhile, defensively on the other end of the court, they're also in the top 10 in guarding the field goal. They're taking on a Miami team who's actually had some difficulties covering the point spread here recently. They're just 2-4 against the spread in their last 6. And they failed to cover against the likes of San Antonio, Charlotte, and Dallas. Now, the Heat's also consistently struggled with Milwaukee over the past couple of years. They're just 3-7 straight up in their last 10 head-to-head meetings with the Bucks. And in addition to that, they actually allowed over 117 points a game in those contests. So Miami really struggling with the size of Milwaukee. Now, when it comes to offensive production, for some reason, the Heat actually tends to throttle down late in ball games. These guys are currently in the bottom 10 in the NBA in fourth quarter scoring on the road. When it comes to the injury report, Lowry is out, Martin is questionable. Meanwhile, for Milwaukee, Lopez and Connaughton are still out indefinitely for them. Hill's also sitting this one out with a neck injury. And when it comes to the number in this one, Milwaukee saw unders recently against Charlotte and Washington. They're also limiting the Heat to just 106 points a game in their last 10 head-to-head contests. So once again, if you're into historical trends, you definitely want to think about that particular stat there. Meanwhile, Miami, they've gone 60% to the under in their last 10 outings themselves. I'm going to lean toward Milwaukee -4 and the under 226.5. Next contest, it is going to be Jazz versus the Rockets, 8 p.m. Eastern start time. Utah's -13.5, totals 229. Now, the Jazz got the W in 8 out of their last 9 ball games, and they're dominating their competition underneath the basket. Utah's currently leading the entire NBA in road defensive boards. They're also limiting their opponents to only 32% shooting from three-land in that same category. Now, scoring-wise, when it comes to offensive production in this one, Donovan Mitchell is scoring over 25.5 points per contest, along with 4 rebounds and 5 assists. Meanwhile, Bojan Bogdanovic is dropping 17 points a game himself, along with 4 rebounds. Now, when it comes to offensive production in this one, the Jazz are currently in the top 3 in the NBA in scoring on average per contest. They're taking on a Houston team who's won just 8 out of 28 home games. They're actually right in the heart of a 10-game losing streak. And, for even more perspective on how bad these guys have been, the Rockets got the W just one time since January 19th. Now, offensively, the Rockets are dead last in both rebounding and free throw percentage. Meanwhile, defensively, on the other end of the court, the Rockets are also dead last in points allowed and defending the field goal. Now, when it comes to the injury report in this one, Gordon, Porter, and Garuba are questionable for Houston. Meanwhile, for Utah, Butler's out with an ankle. When it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of Utah's last 4 got over the posted number. They're also averaging over 115 points a game in their last 10 meetings with the Rockets. Meanwhile, Houston went 60% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Utah minus 13.5 and the over 229. Next contest, it is going to be Thunder versus the Nuggets, and that's going to be a 9 o'clock Eastern start time in the Ball Arena. Denver's minus 13 in the Mile High City, totals 226.5. Now, the Nuggets have won their last 6 straight, and they also went 7-2 against the spread in their last 9. So not only are these guys getting the job done in real life, they're also getting the job in the betting markets as well, cashing in on a lot of tickets. Now, Nikola Jokic, he's scoring 25.5 points a night for Denver, along with 13 boards. Meanwhile, Will Barton scoring over 15 points a game himself, along with 4 rebounds and 3 assists. When it comes to shooting the basketball, Denver finds themselves in the top 3 in offensive field goal percentage. Now, when it comes to defensive play in this one, these guys are also in the top 3 in defending the 3 ball. They're taking on a Thunder team who scores fewer points per contest than any other team in the association. Matter of fact, OKC finds themselves dead last in shooting the 3 ball and shooting from the field. Meanwhile, defensively on the other end of the court, there's nobody who does worse than these guys with regard to rebounding. That's right, OKC's currently dead last in road defensive boards. Now, injury-wise, Williams, Jerome, Dort, Wiggins, Robinson, Earl, Giddey, and Muscala, they're all out for OKC. Meanwhile, for Denver in this one, Murray's still out indefinitely. Najee is questionable. When it comes to the total, Denver saw their last 2 straight fall under the line. 4-3 to the under in their last 7. Meanwhile, their opponents, OKC, they're 18-13 to the under when they travel themselves. Now, they also went 6-4 to the under in their last 10 contests against the Nuggets. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. One more thing to add, too. OKC averaged only 104 points a game in their last 10 head-to-head meetings with Denver as well. So it looks like we're going to lean toward the Nuggets here. Give me Denver minus 13 and the under 226.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final matchup. It is going to be Blazers versus the Suns, 10 p.m. Eastern start time. Phoenix is minus 14, totals 227.5. Despite a 2-game skid for Phoenix, they've still been outstanding on their home court this year. These guys are 26-7 straight up at home. That's good for a win percentage of .788 during that span. Now, when it comes to guarding the 3 ball, there's no one in the association who does it better than Phoenix. The Suns currently lead the NBA in defensive 3-point percentage, and they're allowing only 105 points a game. Now, scoring-wise, Devin Booker is averaging over 25.5 points a game, along with 5 rebounds and 4 assists. Meanwhile, DeAndre Ayton, he's scoring 16.5 points a game himself, along with double-digit rebounds. And speaking of offensive production, well, no one in the NBA shoots better than the Suns from the field. Phoenix is currently first in the league in offensive field goal percentage, and they're drilling 49% of their field goals at home. They're taking on a Blazers team who wins only 33% of their road games. They also do a terrible job on the defensive end of the court. The Blazers are in the bottom 3 in defending the 3 ball. And they're also letting their competition make 48% of their field goals against them when they travel. That could potentially be a disastrous combination there. Now, when it comes to head-to-head meetings, the Blazers are allowing 118 points a game in their last 10 contests against Phoenix. Now, injury-wise, Bledsoe and Winslow are out. Nurkic and Silva still out indefinitely as well. Meanwhile, for the Suns on the other side of things, Paul's still out. Payne is questionable. When it comes to the scoring, Phoenix saw 7 out of their last 9 get over the line. They also went 7-3 to the over in their last 10 meetings with Portland. Meanwhile, the Blazers saw 3 out of their last 4 get over the posted total themselves. Overs against the likes of Golden State, Memphis, and Milwaukee during that span. I'm going to lean toward the Phoenix Suns minus 14 and the over 227.5. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. Now, if you guys do end up getting a membership here today on my website, just keep in mind, you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on brockpage.com, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of March. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. And I'll tell you what, there's really, it doesn't get much earlier than March 2nd. I mean, we are really, really early in the month. Now, guys, and I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. I know I just said that, but now, guys, if you want to get access to every single package that I offer on that website, you can actually get you can get access to every single package, every single bet that I give out on that website. The way to do that is to sign up for my board member tier package. Not only do board members get the board member tier package bet itself, you also get access to every single bet that I give out on that website all the way through the end of March. It's an all-inclusive package. It's pretty much the best thing I offer there, but it's the best thing I offer in the game of life. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. But most importantly, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at brockpage.com.